thing about Trump, though, is that he seems to have only one way of attacking, and that's kind of vicious. It's a very New York thing, really. You know, and for actually, for that matter, it's a very Australian thing. You know, when you attack someone, we tend to take the gloves off and have a crack and, you know, settle it over a beer later. I think that's kind of Trump's style. But there's a risk in this race against DeSantis, who's so widely loved, that will be misinterpreted in the electorate. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always, literally from an Australian perspective, it's sort of odd to see you know, leaders on the same team openly brawling and fighting, you know, in a way that makes the sort of spat between, say, Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard look tame, you know. So yeah, it is odd to my eyes, and it's, you know, of course it doesn't really help, particularly if you have a bruising contest for nomination for president, and so you've just spent, you know, the best part of a year, possibly longer, faddling it out amongst yourselves, and then you get you select your candidate, and then everybody says, well, this is the undisputed Republican or Democratic candidate. It's a hard shift to make in those last few months of the year between the presidential nominations and the primaries and the actual presidential race. So that's always a problem, and I think if he comes out really fighting, I think it's going to be, because for the reasons I said, I think you're going to put, it's like he's attacking all DeSantis' supporters. It's hard to go in with a hard attack without people who are backing DeSantis, and there's clearly a large number of them, clearly well beyond Florida, feeling, well, he's having a go at me. So and maybe there's a touch of nihilism and arrogance in what he said. I don't know, though. Maybe it's Trump after all, but he's got to be careful on that. He's got to recognise that whatever primacy he had in 2016, he certainly isn't going to have this time. He's going to have to earn his place, and he comes with baggage. And I think, from what I hear, and this is only anecdotal, a lot of Republican supporters I've spoken to are saying, well, I backed him in 2016, I don't regret it, but I'm not sure he's the man for the job this time. And his age, of course, I mean, this is, I think on his age alone, we should be questioning whether he's the man to put in. We know what it's like when you have a 80-something plus person in the White House. We're watching it play out right now.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, just staying on Trump, he's said this is ultimately a quest to save the United States, which is, of course, a reference to this bloke, the current president, who continues to have trouble walking upstairs and just generally being aware of his surroundings. Check this out. Biden looks so dazed and confused there, Nick. What all this talk about Trump versus DeSantis actually takes people's attention away from the fact that Biden is possibly the worst president in United States history, don't you think?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think that is a fairly settled argument. So I think the science is in on that one, as they say. But look, he's a man with, well, both of us, I'm sure, will have sympathy, because both of us have had to deal with elderly parents in recent years. He has what they would say are mobility issues, as well as cognitive issues, perhaps. So, you know, at this stage in life, if he wasn't the president, they'd be urging him to take it easy and sit down and whatever. That's clear. But I detected last week that this hasn't sunk through to Biden himself. I mean, he took last week's survival in the midterms. That's what it was. Although, you know, obviously they did much better than expected, as an endorsement. And I didn't read it as that. I think it'd be foolish if he read it as an endorsement and he's fine and he should run again. If that's the message he takes out of last week's primaries, we're in real trouble.